Okay, everybody, this is going to be a beautiful video. I don't think it's going to be really super short, but I'm going to try not to make it too long either. What I'm going to do is we're going to do something very task-based in PowerShell. And I blogged on this the other day, but I wanted to go ahead and make a video because nothing beats some good explanation, right? So, and I'm sitting here with Jen as my witness over here on the other side. I haven't really prepped this. I don't have any scripts ready. I don't have anything. In fact, we just traded the mic and I started talking. So I just wanted to, she's over here giving me the go on, go on, go on. I just wanted to give y'all the little spiel about how fabulous I am to be able to do this off the top of my head. So anyway, okay, so what we're going to do, this is a very specific task. You want to find out across all of the boxes in your LAN/WAN, right? All the boxes in your control, what service accounts the SQL services run under, okay? Whatever. Hold on, it'll take a second for this thing to zip out. Maybe it'll go away now. Okay, good. Sure, I'm glad that happened. Okay, sorry about that. So, I'm going to have to repeat what I just said to get myself back on track here. So what you want to do is you've got all your SQL boxes and you're just wondering what service accounts they're starting under, right? How many of them are local system? If you have one account that's spread across, hundreds of boxes or dozens of boxes, you kind of want to know that sometimes so that if you want to change the password, you know what the impact is going to be, right? So there are a few different reasons why you would want to do that, but let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's start with getting the information we want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to just build this process. And I'm going to make this a very simple process, right? This isn't going to be the full-blown enterprise version, but at the end of this video, you'll definitely be able to do this, and it'll be good enough. If you're not very good with PowerShell, it'll be good enough for what you want to do. It'll certainly get the job done. So the first thing you got to do is you got to get the info to begin with. I'm going to start here on my local box. I have SQL running here, right? So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do get WMI. I'm going to use the alias for it, and then I'm going to call the service. So I'm going to use Win32 service. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to go ahead and call computer name. Because even though I'm doing it against the local host, and if I don't supply a computer name, it'll run against the local host. I want to get you used to seeing that computer name on there, right? So let's just go ahead and start there. Let's say GWMI Win32 service, computer name, local host, and let's just see what we get. Okay, good. So we get a bunch of stuff that is just too long for anything we want to do, right? So I'll say, oops, I'll pipe that to a format table. And now I at least get something. Wow, I've got that many services running on my box. Okay, so here's what I get. I get the exit code, which is kind of useless to me. I get the name, the process ID, the start mode, the state, and the status, right? But what can I get from it? Okay, let's go ahead and see what we can get. Let's go ahead and get rid of that, and let's pipe that to a get member. Remember, I'm just teaching you how to build this service. I'm teaching you how to build this process, right? So, okay. Excellent. So I've got these methods and I've got these properties, and it's the properties I'm interested in. I've got name and I've got display name and I've got some other stuff. So let's go ahead and start building some of the things we want. So I'm going to take that to a format table. Let's go ahead and say we want display name, and what else do I want? I want start mode and start name, and I'm going to go ahead and do an auto size on that. Cool. So right here you can see I've got all of my services by display name, by start mode, whether they're auto, manual, disabled, right? And the start name. So I can see what service account all of these guys are running under. So if I come down here and see and find the SQL stuff, right? There's my SQL stuff right there. I can see that I've got a couple of them running under my personal domain account because it's just my local workstation. And I've got another one here running under network service. But that's an awful lot to sift through, right? I mean, I said I wanted to get the SQL services, not all the services. So I'm just going to add a where clause in the middle here. Before the data gets to the format table, I'm going to say where, don't forget your curlies, I'm going to say where the current iteration of display name equals, and I'm just going to say percent. Actually, no, let's just say where it matches SQL. So let's just say where it matches SQL. So the match operator is a, what am I trying to say, Jen? It's a regex. It's a regular expression operator. So what I'm saying here is it's going to look for SQL anywhere in the display name. So let's see if we get what we want to get. There we go. I've got all my SQL services right there, and I can see what they add. I can see what their I can see what account they're starting under. There we go. So okay, so I've got the information I want more or less right now, right? There's one more thing I could add, and I'll go ahead and do it this way because it's just the easiest way. Let's go back up to get member, if I can get that here. Nope, it's going to be down here. There it is. Okay, so for get member, I need to find another property in order to make this, you know, something that'll do me well. Let's try system name. There we go. So I got start name, and I'm going to lead this with system name. And I'm not sure if this will give it to me or not. That's why I'm testing it. Okay, good. So I've got system name in there, so that's exactly what I want, because I want to know what computer I'm on, right? Except I have managed to do that in one of them that doesn't have, there we go, the where clause in it. So I'm going to come back up here and do it there. There we go. So now I've got a table with the computer name, the display name, the start mode, and the start name. That's actually a pretty good little set of data. So now what I want to do is I want to set this to I want to set this so that I can log it to a SQL database so that I can query it. And that sounds easy enough, and it actually is, but there's a couple things you need to know, right? So you know, because, you know, I can do this against 1 or 2 or 3 boxes, but it's much better if I can do it against, you know, 500 boxes or 10,000 boxes, and then just, you know, sort through it all with queries. It's a fabulously fabulous thing, I guess. Sure. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, and this is where I'm kind of getting tied up on where I want to teach you. I don't know if I want to teach you how to cycle through boxes in a cursor first, or if I want to teach you how to build the SQL side first. But I think what we'll do is we'll get the cursor side down first, and then we'll get the SQL side after that, okay? So what we're going to do is, let me minimize this. Let me see if I have my PowerShell editor here. Yep, there it is. I use Primal Script because I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a script, okay? It's just going to be much easier to deal with if we turn it into a script now. It's going to be easier to work with. And one of these days, the script editor might open. Ah, there we go. I've got a lot of things open on my taskbar. I'm probably paging like crazy right now. You okay over there?
I'm paging like crazy.
Yeah, I get that. Okay. Are you sure? Because, you know, I can wait 20 or 30 more minutes. Okay, so I'm going to say new type. I'm going to say script file. PowerShell right there. Good. We'll go ahead and take all this header stuff out of here. Okay, so I finally got this going. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to up arrow, and I'm just going to come here, say edit and mark. I'm just going to get all of this stuff. I'm going to hit enter to copy it, And then I should be able to come in here and say, fine, Control V to paste, right? So I can get rid of this. Good, now I've got my command directly out of there because I didn't want to rewrite that, right? So what we're going to do is we've got to cycle through several boxes, right? I've only got 2 boxes here that I can cycle through, but you know, it doesn't matter how many of them there are, right? So there's a number of ways you can do this. I'm going to do this the easiest way for me right now, but I'm going to leave it open for you to be able to do it any way you want, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to set a variable A equal to localhost and my lab box SQLcon, okay? And that's going to automatically create an array. If you don't know how to do that, then you know, go somewhere else. Okay, so I've got that. Now, the easiest thing for me to do now is to say A equals, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, A, pipe A to for each. And I'm going to put my curlies here. I'm going to put the start of my curly here. And I'm going to go, need my line continuationer. And I'm going to put the finish of my curly here. Good. So now I'm saying for each one of these A's, I'm going to do this, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to have a server name parameter that I'm going to create, and I'm going to set that equal to the current iteration, right? So that's easy enough. I'm saying make the server name equal to that. And now, instead of localhost, I'm going to make this dynamic and just make that equal to the server name. So what I should get when I do this, and let's go ahead and save that. Let's go ahead and save it to F, I believe. Backslash. And there we go. BCP test. There we go, BCP test, whack. And let's say, what do we want to call this? Services.ps1. There we go. I think that'll do it. So services.ps1. Cool. I think it's thinking. Oh, I see. It's going to be that way. Okay. Services.ps1. There we go. Can you? Okay, sorry about that. I had a little distraction. Okay, so we'll recount this very quickly, right? We're filling A with some data. It's an array. And now we're calling A, and we're saying for each value in A, I want to set the current value equal to my variable of server name, and then I want to connect to Win32 service to that computer, and I want to pull back all of this information, right? That should be fairly easy, and if there's any luck, we'll actually make that happen. So let's see here. If I say, I go to F colon BCP test, and now if I say, what did I say that was? Services.ps1. Let's see, did that not save where I wanted it to save? Come here, you. Save as. Okay, fine. I have to actually go through and click all this. BCP test, services. Okay, good. There you go. So I've got a list of services and information for DarthCon, and then I've got the same thing for SQLCon. That's absolutely excellent. That's exactly what I was looking for. So now what we need to do is we need to put that in SQL. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of information here, right? So I need to build a table. Let's go ahead and build a table. I'm going to build it here on DarthCon, right? Let's make sure I'm local. Yep, I'm local. Let's just go ahead and create a table real quick. Create table. Oh, let's call it service info. Right? So with our service info table, we'll just say server name, Barcraft 50, why not, right? I can't even remember what info we pulled already. Display name, you definitely want that to be long, so let's say display name, Barcraft 50 again, why not? Jeez, why can't I remember what I did? Start mode and start name. Okay, you guys remind me of that. Start mode and start name. And start name, since I have no idea how long they can be. Okay, so that should get me what I want, right? So if I just run this, I won't put it in master, I'll put it here. Except I kind of need to change databases, don't I? There we go. Okay, so I have it completed. Right, so now all I need to do is write an insert statement. That seems easy enough, right? So back to our PowerShell script. So I've got that done. I don't need all of this format table stuff anymore, right? I'm still inside of here. I'm going to get service, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's where I need to go. I get rid of all of this stuff except for right now. I'm just going to put it down on a lower line because I still want to be able to read it, right? So for all of that, I need to pipe that to another for each and put my curlies, right? So for each one of these guys, I want to do something, right? So for each server, I want to run this. And for each one of these services that I get back, I want to do something. And what I want to do is I want to set some variables, right? I want to set some values to some variables. So I want to say system name, which I could already use server name, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and use server name. Except I've already got it. Sorry, guys. Display name equals the current iteration of display name. And say start mode equals the current iteration of start mode, and start name equals current iteration of start name. Good. So we've got all those. That's easy enough. I'm going to go ahead and backspace a little bit. Now, so we've got these guys here. Let me go ahead and drop that down a little bit, right? Okay, so the reason why I backed out on system name, right, and I'll go ahead and delete that from here, is because we really don't need it, because we've already got the server name here. I already know what server I'm on, and I don't have to set it here to a variable because I've already got it set to a variable. So all I'm going to have to do is call it. So now I've got all these guys established, right? I can just say invoke SQL command, and I want to, and I'm just going to leave that blank, I believe, because I can do that to localhost, and I'm going to say, oh, let's see, what is the, I always get these guys mixed up, so I'm going to say help SQL command So there we go. Now I can get, okay, so it's server, instance, and database. That's what I wanted. That's easy enough, so I'll just say server instance is localhost, and database is, what was that database name again? It is Higher Ed DW. So it is Higher Ed DW. And query, I believe that's what I want, is query. Query, there we go. And it's just going to be a string as well. So that's going to look just like that, right? And now inside of this query, I can do anything. What I typically do is I write an SP on the back end, and then I just call the SP from here. But I'm just going to write a simple insert statement for brevity, and you'll get the idea, right? So I'm going to say insert service info. Info, isn't that what we called it? Service info, right? And then I'm going to say select, and now we just start rolling through these guys, right? So I'm going to put that in a single quote because these are all text. Let's say server name. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy all the way over here so I can see it. There we go. Server name, comma, display name, comma, start mode, comma, and start name there. And that should give me what I want. Let me make sure that I've still got that I've got everything in the right order. Server name, display name, start mode, start name. Okay, that should do it. I got everything right there. That should do it. Let's save this guy. And let's go ahead and add one more thing so we can see what we're doing. Let's say, let's go ahead and add server name and display name. Okay, that's $sign server name. So I just want to display these guys as they're coming through, right? I'll go ahead and comment that guy out. And let's see if we got everything right. There are no red squigglies or anything under here, so it looks like it's not going to throw up on us. Let's find out, shall we? Let's go ahead and get that. Go ahead and more through all of this. There we go. Start with a nice clean slate. There we go. Let's see what happens. For each object command position to resupply parameter for the following parameters. Oh, I see. Okay. So I did something funky there. Let's see. Control C. Okay. Yeah, I think I see the problem. I didn't close my second curly. There we go. There's my second curly right there. So I've got my first curly right here. I've got my second curly, second set of curlies right there, right? So let's see if that fixes it. Okay, that didn't fix it. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I see what the problem is. I do this sometimes. I gotta put that there, and now I've got a little red squiggly there. So I get rid of that bracket. This is the line continuation. What happens is the for each, it likes to have its beginning curly bracket on the same line, but I should be able to put that line continuation character there and have it forgive me. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. So it ran, and it's all done. And if we did it right, we should have data in the database. Let's say select star from service info. Good. Look at that. That is just beautiful. So now we've got all of these guys here, and now it's just a simple query to find out how many of these, how many services or how many computers have, say, this one or this one started, right? If you've got a lot of boxes, then you know, this is really, really useful, because this is a really huge audit technique that you can use to find out the impact of changing a service password, right? So, you know, we had a couple little hiccups there, and I love those types of hiccups because they show you that, you know, even people that do this all the time make mistakes, right? And unfortunately, I make the same mistakes again and again. I never learn my lessons. But it's also to show you how fast you can do something like this, because even explaining this to you, it's only been a few minutes. And you know, if I were doing this, you know, by myself without explaining it to you, I could have just whipped through it a lot faster. So you see, the code really isn't that long, right? I mean, I can even make it prettier for you. I can push this all the way over here like that, you know, make it a little bit prettier. I'll do one more. There we go. So I'll talk you through this code just one more time, because it's really that easy, right? Oh yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about before I talk you through the rest of this code. I want to talk about this this a variable really quick. There are so many different ways you could fill this variable. You can fill it with a SQL query. So if you've got all of your servers in a single table, you could fill this A with a SQL query. You could fill this A just like I did right here. You could fill this A from a text file, right? And the way you would do that, it's very simple. Let me comment this out, right? And I'll just come down here and I'll just say A equals, and then I'll just say get content, colon backslash, for example, right? So I don't think that actually exists, but that's just an example of a way of how you would do that, right? So I'm getting the content of this file, and all the file is, I'll come all the way down here to show you, all the file would look like inside is like that. For our environment, you just put one server on each line, and it'll go through there. But that's the reason why I put this in a variable instead of doing something else, because if I need to change the method that I use to get my server list, all I have to do is change it here. And once I get that into A, the rest of the script stays the same. Nothing else has to change. So you want to build your scripts in a way that's gonna cause as little change as possible, right? So you can see here, it doesn't matter if I fill them in like this, or if I fill them in like this, or if I even fill them in from a SQL query, right? So that's why I designed it the way I did, because it's so much easier to just bam, 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 bam. Now, one more time real quick. I fill my variable A, it's an array, with the list of servers, right? However I get that. And then for each one of those, I set the server name equal to the local iteration, the current iteration of the server name that I piped into A, right? After that, I call Win32 service, the WMI class get Win32 service. I pass it that server name that we just set up, because that's the box I want to connect to. I want to connect to that current box, right? And then I'm filtering my SQL, I'm filtering my query here. I'm saying where the display name has SQL anywhere inside of it, right? Because remember, that's a regex, that's a regular expression operator right there. and that just says where SQL is anywhere inside of it. You can get more granular than that if you want. And then I'm saying once you've got that, pipe that to another for each. And for each one of those, so for each service that this thing returns, I want you to set these variables. I want you to set display name equal to $display name, start mode equal to $start mode, and start name equal to $start name, right? And that's just to make it easier to work with down here. You can set your variables here and then work with them up here. So if you ever have to change anything, all you have to do is change your variables up here and nothing else changes, right? The same principle is working up here that we did. So I'm going to invoke SQL command. I'm going to connect to my local instance, right? That's the way I'm doing it. You can connect to anyone you want. Set my database name, and my query is a simple select, right? The server name, the cache server name variable here gets parsed, and it puts the value in there. And then I've got the inside the single quotes, because this is going to be passing varchar data, and character data in SQL needs to be passed inside a single quotes, right? So I do all of that, and then I just print them so that when I run this thing manually, I can see them go through there. Because if you're running this against 400 boxes, you just don't want a blinking cursor for half an hour. You want to see that it's actually doing something. And then we close, and we're golden. I'll go ahead and get rid of this guy here, right? Save that. And there you go. That's how to pull in some service account information and log it to a table. And you can make this as rich as you want. You can add tons of error handling, and you can add lots of other service information, all you want. All you got to do to add more service information is extend your table. Where's my script? Is extend your table here, change the number of variables, and then change the parameters that you're passing into the insert statement. And it's that easy. Okay, that's all I got. Jen, you got anything else? Nope, she doesn't have anything. Okay, talk to you guys later.